The boy's lips are turning blue. Naomi Brooks watches his small chest rise and fall in shallow, uneven gasps. His fingers twitch against the cold marble floor where he's collapsed, his red shirt soaked through with sweat. She's been working in this mansion for 3 weeks, and this is the first time she's seen him still. Usually he rocks. Back and forth. Always moving, never speaking. Now he's barely breathing. The other staff stand frozen in the hallway, their faces blank masks of practiced indifference. One of the guards, a thick-necked man with a scar across his knuckles, shifts his weight but doesn't move forward. "Call someone," Naomi says. Her voice cuts through the silence like glass breaking. The guard shakes his head. "We wait for the boss. The child is dying. We wait for the boss." Naomi drops to her knees beside the boy. His skin feels like ice despite the fever burning through him. She's seen this before, 2 years ago, in a different hospital, watching her own son slip away while doctors pumped chemicals into his veins. The same trembling, the same pale exhaustion, the same look of a body being poisoned from the inside. She presses 2 fingers to the boy's wrist. His pulse stutters like a car engine failing. Around his thin arms, she notices what she's been seeing for days. Bruises in perfect circles, like someone's been gripping him too hard. Or holding him down. "Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is." The mansion sits high above the Hudson River, hidden behind iron gates that never open for ambulances. Inside these walls there are rules. 3 of them, written in silence and enforced with disappearances. Rule 1. No one speaks to Luciano Rossi's son without permission. Rule 2. No one enters the boys' room after dark. Rule 3. No one questions the doctor's orders. Naomi broke Rule 1 her second day here. She brought the boy, Aiden. She'd learned his name from whispers, a plate of pancakes cut into small circles. He didn't eat them, just stared at the pattern they made on the plate, his fingers drumming a rhythm only he could hear. She noticed things the others ignored. The way he covered his ears when the grandfather clock chimed. How he lined up his toys by color, then size, then color again. The way his eyes never quite met anyone else's, like he was looking at something just beyond the visible world. Different, the staff called him. Broken. Wrong. But Naomi recognized what they didn't or wouldn't see. This child wasn't broken. He was autistic, and someone was medicating him into silence. Now, that same someone is 30 minutes away, stuck in traffic coming back from Manhattan, while his son stops breathing on imported Italian marble. Naomi makes a choice. She scoops Aiden into her arms. He weighs almost nothing, all bird bones and trembling skin, and runs toward the service entrance. Behind her, she hears the guard's radio crackle to life. Footsteps echo in the hall. "Ma'am, put the boy down." She doesn't stop. "Ma'am, I will use force." She kicks open the door to the garden. Rain hammers down in sheets, turning the manicured lawn into a swamp. The main gates are a quarter-mile away, locked and monitored. She'll never make it on foot. Her eyes land on something leaning against the garden shed, a wheelbarrow, rusted and forgotten. It's the stupidest idea she's ever had. It's also the only one. She lays Aiden inside, his head lolling against the metal rim. His glasses slide down his nose. She adjusts them with shaking fingers, then grabs the handles and runs. The wheelbarrow jolts over roots and stones. Rain blinds her. Behind her, she hears shouting, the slam of doors, the mechanical whir of the gates beginning to close. She's not going to make it, but she pushes harder anyway, her shoes sinking into mud, her uniform plastered to her skin. Aiden's eyes flutter open for just a second, confused, terrified, then close again. "Stay with me, baby," she whispers. "Stay with me." The gates are 50 feet away, then 30, then 20. 2 guards step into her path, hands on their holsters. She doesn't slow down. "Move." They don't move. 15 feet. 10. One of them draws his weapon. Naomi plants her feet and screams with everything left in her lungs. "He's dying. You can kill me later." Do you think Naomi just signed her own death warrant? Or is she the only person in that mansion brave enough to see the truth? Drop your answer in the comments. The guard's finger hovers over the trigger. For 3 seconds, nobody moves. Rain drums against metal. Aiden's breath comes in wet, rattling gasps. Naomi's heart pounds so hard she can feel it in her teeth. Then the guard's radio erupts with static and a voice like gravel. Let her through. The weapon lowers. The gates grind open. Naomi doesn't question it. She pushes the wheelbarrow through and out onto the main road, where headlights slice through the storm. She waves her arms, screaming for help, until a pickup truck screeches to a stop. The driver, an older woman with gray braids, takes one look at the scene and throws open the passenger door. Get in the back. I'll drive. They lift Aiden together, wheelbarrow and all, into the truck bed. Naomi climbs in after him, cradling his head as the truck roars toward the highway. She doesn't look back at the mansion. Doesn't think about what happens when Luciano Rossi finds out his son is gone. All she thinks about is the last time she held a dying child in her arms. His name was Marcus. He was 6 years old when the leukemia took him. Toward the end, the treatments hurt more than the disease. He'd begged her, in his small, tired voice, to make the doctors stop. But she trusted them, believed they knew best. By the time she realized they were wrong, it was too late. She won't make that mistake again. The hospital rises ahead, all fluorescent lights and glass. Naomi jumps out before the truck fully stops, pulling Aiden from the wheelbarrow and stumbling through the automatic doors. I need a doctor. Her voice echoes off stairwell walls. He's not breathing right. He's been over-medicated. A nurse appears, clipboard in hand, expression professionally blank. Ma'am, we'll need insurance information. He doesn't have time for paperwork. Naomi shoves past her, carrying Aiden toward the emergency room. His head rolls against her shoulder. His glasses slip off and clatter to the floor. She doesn't stop to pick them up. More nurses swarm around her. Someone tries to take Aiden from her arms, but she holds on, her fingers locked in his damp shirt. Test his blood, she says. Check for sedatives. Someone's been poisoning him. Ma'am, you need to... I'm not leaving him. And then the air changes. It's not something she hears. It's something she feels. A pressure drop, like the moment before lightning strikes. The nurses' faces go pale. The reception desk falls silent. Luciano Rossi walks through the doors. He's not what Naomi expected. No bodyguards. No theatrics. Just a man in a black suit with an open collar, his shirt half soaked from rain. Tattoos crawl up his neck, symbols she doesn't recognize, inked in languages she doesn't speak. His eyes scan the room until they land on her. Then on his son. For the first time since she started working in that mansion, Naomi sees something other than cold control in his face. She sees fear. He crosses the room in 4 long strides. What happened? He collapsed. Naomi's voice is steady, even though her hands are shaking. He's been getting worse for weeks. The injections, whatever that doctor's been giving him, they're killing him. Dr. Orloff is the best. Dr. Orloff is a liar. The words land like a slap. Around them, the hospital holds its breath. You don't talk to Luciano Rossi like that. You don't accuse him of anything. You definitely don't tell him he's wrong. But Naomi steps closer, still holding Aiden, and meets his eyes without flinching. Your son isn't sick. He's autistic. And someone's been drugging him into obedience because you were too afraid or too proud to admit it. His jaw tightens. His hands curl into fists. Then a doctor appears, breaking the moment. We need to run tests. Now. They take Aiden from her arms. This time, she lets them. She watches as they wheel him through double doors, his small body disappearing into the bright, sterile unknown. When she turns back, Luciano is still staring at her. You stole my car, he says quietly. I stole your wheelbarrow. You put my son in a wheelbarrow. I saved your son's life. His expression doesn't change, but something flickers behind his eyes, something that might be respect or might be rage. With men like him, it's hard to tell the difference. If he dies, Luciano says, his voice low and cold, you die. Naomi lifts her chin. If he dies, we both failed him. Would you have confronted a mafia boss to save a child's life? Or would fear have kept you silent? Tell us below. The waiting room smells like disinfectant and fear. Naomi sits on a plastic chair with a crack running through the seat. Her uniform is still wet, sticking to her skin. Her shoes squeak against the linoleum every time she shifts her weight. Across from her, Luciano Rossi hasn't moved in 40 minutes. He stands near the window, hands in his pockets, watching the rain blur the city lights. He hasn't said a word since the doctors took Aiden. She wonders what he's thinking, if he's planning her funeral, if he's already made the call. But when a nurse finally emerges, he's the first one at the door. "We've stabilized him," the nurse says. She's young, maybe 25, with tired eyes and a name tag that reads Kira. "But we need to run a full toxicology screen. There's something in his system. Multiple sedatives, overlapping dosages. Whoever prescribed this." "Dr. Vance Orloff," Naomi says. The nurse's face goes carefully blank. "I can't comment on another doctor's treatment plan, even if it's killing the patient." Kira glances at Luciano, then back at Naomi. "I'll make sure the attending reviews everything." She disappears back through the doors. The silence that follows is suffocating. Luciano turns to Naomi. "How long have you known?" 3 weeks. "And you said nothing?" "I said something today." His eyes narrow. "What?" "It's a test." She can feel it. The wrong answer gets her buried in the woods. The right answer might get her the same result. But Naomi is done with fear. "Because 2 years ago, I watched my son die in a hospital just like this one," she says. "The doctors told me to trust them, told me they knew what they were doing. I believed them, and I held my baby's hand while their treatments destroyed him from the inside out." She stands, meeting Luciano's gaze head on. "I won't watch another child suffer because the adults around him are too scared or too stupid to ask questions." For a long moment, he just stares at her. Then he pulls out his phone and makes a call. The conversation lasts 10 seconds. When he hangs up, his expression is unreadable. "Dr. Orloff will be at the mansion in an hour." "Good. You're coming with me." "No." Naomi sits back down. "I'm staying here until Aiden wakes up." "That wasn't a request." "I don't care." Something almost like a smile crosses his face, there and gone in a heartbeat. "You have a death wish, Miss Brooks." "I have a conscience, Mr. Rossi. They're not the same thing." He studies her for another moment, then nods once. "You stay. I'll send a car for you in the morning." He walks toward the exit, his footsteps echoing through the empty corridor. But just before he reaches the door, he stops. "Thank you," he says without turning around. Then he's gone. Naomi leans back in the cracked plastic chair and closes her eyes. Her body aches. Her mind races. She thinks about Marcus, how his small hand felt in hers at the end, how she'd promised him it would be okay, even though they both knew she was lying. She thinks about Aiden, alone in that mansion, surrounded by people who saw him as a problem to be solved instead of a child to be loved. She thinks about the bruises on his wrists, the way his hands shook after every injection, the fear in his eyes when footsteps approached his door. And she thinks about Dr. Vance Orloff, cold, efficient, always arriving with his black medical bag and leaving with cash in unmarked envelopes. Something isn't right. 3 hours later, the doctors let her see Aiden. He's asleep in a hospital bed, hooked up to monitors that beep in steady rhythm. His face looks less pale now, his breathing stronger. Someone has cleaned him up, dressed him in a hospital gown covered in cartoon bears. Naomi sits in the chair beside his bed and takes his hand, carefully, gently, the way you'd handle something precious and fragile. "Hey, baby," she whispers. "You're safe now. I promise." His fingers twitch in her grip. His eyelids flutter but don't open. On the monitor above his head, his heart rate holds steady. Naomi stays there until dawn breaks outside the window, painting the room in soft gold light. She doesn't sleep, doesn't let go of his hand, because she knows something the doctors don't. This isn't over. What do you think Dr. Orloff will do when he finds out his secret is exposed? Drop your theory below. Aiden wakes up at 6:47 a.m. His eyes open slowly, blinking against the morning light. For a few seconds, he just stares at the ceiling, his expression blank and confused. Then his gaze shifts, finds Naomi sitting beside him, and something changes. He doesn't speak, doesn't smile, but his fingers tighten around hers. "Hey." Naomi says softly. You gave everyone a real scare last night. Aiden's eyes dart around the room. The monitors, the four in his arm, the unfamiliar walls. His breathing quickens. His free hand starts tapping against the bed rail in rapid, rhythmic patterns. She recognizes the signs. Overwhelm. Too much input, too fast. It's okay, she says, keeping her voice low and calm. You're in the hospital. You got sick, but you're getting better. See, she points to the window. The sun's coming up. That means it's a new day. He follows her finger to the window, watches the light spread across the glass. Slowly, his tapping slows. His breathing evens out. Naomi reaches in her bag, the one she grabbed on her way out of the mansion, and pulls out the wooden train she'd shown him once before. It's old, worn smooth by years of small hands playing with it. Marcus's train. She sets it on the bed beside Aiden. His eyes lock onto it immediately. His fingers release hers and reach for the toy instead, rolling it back and forth across the white sheet. The wheels make a soft clicking sound. Choo-choo, he whispers. It's the second time he's spoken to her. The second word she's ever heard from him, and it breaks something open in her chest. She blinks hard, willing the tears back. That's right, baby. Choo-choo. For the next 20 minutes, they sit in silence. Aiden rolling the train, Naomi watching him, both of them breathing in the strange, fragile peace of survival. Then the door opens. A doctor walks in, older, with graying hair and sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. His name tag reads Dr. Ephraim Lowe. Miss Brooks, he says. Can we talk outside? Naomi glances at Aiden. He's absorbed in the train, his world narrowed down to wheels and wood and rhythm. She squeezes his hand once, then follows the doctor into the hall. Dr. Lowe doesn't waste time. We got the toxicology results back. Aiden's been receiving high doses of 3 different sedatives, lorazepam, clonazepam, and something we're still identifying. The combination is unusual and dangerous. I told you. I know what you told me. He pulls out a tablet, swipes through charts, and numbers Naomi doesn't understand. What I don't know is why a licensed physician would prescribe this cocktail to an 8-year-old boy. It's not treatment. It's chemical restraint. So what happens now? Now we report it. Child Protective Services will. No, Dr. Lowe frowns. Miss Brooks, this is a legal obligation. You call CPS, and Aiden goes into the system. Foster care, group homes, strangers who don't understand him. Naomi shakes her head. That boy has been ignored and medicated and treated like a problem his whole life. Putting him in a system that's already broken won't fix anything. Then what do you suggest? Let me talk to his father. The doctor's expression shifts, something between disbelief and concern. Luciano Rossi. Yes, you understand who you're dealing with. I understand exactly who I'm dealing with. Naomi crosses her arms. But I also understand that underneath all that fear and power, there's a man who's terrified of losing his son. Maybe for the first time in his life, he's scared of something he can't control or buy or bury. Dr. Lowe studies her for a long moment. You're either very brave or very foolish. Maybe both. He sighs, then hands her a business card. If things go wrong, if you need help, you call me. Understood. She takes the card. Understood. When she returns to Aiden's room, he's asleep again, the train still clutched in his hand. She sits back down in the chair and pulls out her phone. No messages, no missed calls, but she knows Luciano will come. Men like him always do. While she waits, she thinks about the mansion, about the rules written in silence, about Dr. Orloff and his black bag and his cold, clinical smile. She thinks about the way Aiden flinches at sudden sounds. The bruises that circle his wrists like bracelets. The fear that lives in his eyes, even when he's safe. Someone did this to him. Someone made a choice to drug a child into submission rather than learn how to love him as he is. And Naomi is going to make sure that someone pays. 2 hours later, the door opens again. This time, it's not a doctor. Luciano Rossi walks in, still wearing yesterday's suit, his eyes shadowed with exhaustion. He looks at his son, really looks at him, for what might be the first time in years. Then he looks at Naomi. We need to talk, he says. What do you think Luciano will do when he learns the truth about Dr. Orloff? Comment your prediction now. The hospital has a chapel on the second floor. It's small, non-denominational, with rows of empty chairs and a stained glass window that casts colored light across the floor. Nobody's there this early in the morning. Luciano sits in the back row. Naomi sits across the aisle, 3 chairs away. Between them, silence heavy as stone. Finally, he speaks. Tell me what you know. Dr. Orloff has been sedating your son for at least 6 months, Naomi says. Maybe longer. The medications aren't treating anything. They're suppressing Aiden's natural behavior, keeping him quiet, manageable. He said the boy needed. The boy doesn't need to be fixed. Her voice cuts through the quiet like a knife. He needs to be understood. There's a difference. Luciano's jaw tightens. His hands, scarred, tattooed, capable of violence, grip the back of the chair in front of him. Orloff told me Aiden was sick, that without treatment, he'd get worse. He lied. Why? I don't know yet, but someone paid him to do it. The words hang in the air between them. Outside, the city wakes up, traffic noise, sirens, the low hum of a million lives starting their day. Inside this chapel, the world narrows to 2 people and 1 question. Who wanted Aiden Rossi weak and silent? Luciano stands. He walks to the window, staring at the stained glass like it holds answers. I have enemies, he says quietly. Men who would hurt my son to hurt me, but to do it slowly, to poison him over months. He shakes his head. That's not revenge. That's strategy. Someone wanted him out of the way, or someone wanted me distracted. He turns, and Naomi sees it, the shift from father to something else. Something colder. Aiden is my heir, my only child. If he's incapacitated, my business interests become uncertain. You mean vulnerable. I mean available. Naomi stands too. So what are you going to do? Why should I have done months ago? He pulls out his phone, makes a call. The conversation is brief, conducted in Italian, his voice flat and emotionless. When he hangs up, his expression is unreadable. Dr. Orloff will be at the mansion in 2 hours. You're coming with me. Why? Because you're the only person who's told me the truth. They take his car, a black sedan with tinted windows and a driver who doesn't speak. Naomi watches the city blur past, her heart hammering in her chest. She's crossing a line. She knows it, but she crossed at the moment she put Aiden in that wheelbarrow. The mansion looks different in daylight. Less ominous, more empty, like a museum of wealth, beautiful and dead. Inside, the staff moves like ghosts, silent, efficient, invisible. No one meets Naomi's eyes as she follows Luciano up the marble staircase to his office. The room is exactly what she expected. Dark wood, leather furniture, walls lined with books no one reads. A desk the size of a small car sits near the window, its surface empty except for a single lamp. Luciano gestures to a chair. Seat. She sits. He pours 2 glasses of whiskey from a crystal decanter. Hand her one. She doesn't drink it. When Aiden was born, he says, my wife held him for 3 hours straight. Wouldn't let the nurses take him. Wouldn't let me hold him. Just sat there, staring at his face like she was memorizing it. He takes a sip. 2 years later, she was dead. Car accident. Or that's what the police report said. Naomi's grip tightens on the glass. You think someone killed her? I think my life makes people into targets, even the ones I love. He sets his glass down. When Aiden started showing signs, I didn't know what to do. He wouldn't talk, wouldn't look at me, screamed when I touched him. The other children at school mocked him. The teachers said he was unteachable. So you hired Dr. Orloff. He came highly recommended, said he specialized in difficult cases, behavioral disorders. Within weeks, Aiden was calmer, quieter. Luciano's voice drops. I thought I was helping him. You were silencing him. The words hit like a bullet. Luciano flinches, and Naomi sees it. The crack in the armor. The guilt. Yes, he says. Before she can respond, the door opens. Dr. Vance Orloff walks in. He's tall, thin, with pale skin and eyes the color of dirty ice. He carries his black medical bag like always, his movements precise and calculated. He stops when he sees Naomi. Mr. Rossi, he says smoothly. I wasn't aware we'd have company. Miss Brooks will be staying. Luciano's voice is calm, almost pleasant. She has some questions about Aiden's treatment. Orlov's smile doesn't reach his eyes. Of course. Though I must say, the boys' episode last night was unfortunate. If he'd stayed home, as I recommended, he would have died, Naomi says. The smile freezes. Excuse me? She stands, pulling out her phone. On the screen, the toxicology report DR. Lo sent her an hour ago. You've been giving Aiden 3 different sedatives. Overlapping doses. The combination is toxic. Those medications are perfectly safe when administered correctly. They're not safe when the patient is 8 years old and doesn't need them. She steps closer. What I want to know is, who's paying you? Orlov's face goes blank. Professional. I don't know what you're implying. I'm not implying anything. I'm asking directly. She glances at Luciano. Because there's only 2 reasons to drug a child like that. Either you're incompetent, or you're being paid to keep him quiet. For 5 seconds, no one moves. Then Orlov laughs, a short, nervous sound. This is absurd. Mr. Rossi, surely you don't believe. Answer the question, Luciano says. The laughter dies. Orlov looks between them, calculating odds, weighing options. Then his hand moves toward his medical bag. He doesn't make it. Luciano crosses the room in 2 steps, grabs Orlov by the throat, and slams him against the wall. The bag falls, spilling syringes and pill bottles across the floor. Who? Luciano's voice is soft, deadly. Who paid you to hurt my son? Orlov gasps, clawing at the hand around his neck. His face turns red, then purple. Tell me, and I'll make it quick. Rossi, please. Tell me. Orlov's eyes bulge. His lips move, forming words Naomi can barely hear. Marchetti. Carlo Marchetti. Luciano's expression doesn't change, but his grip tightens. You wanted the boy out of the way, said you'd be distracted. How much did he pay you? 200,000. Luciano, let's go. Orlov collapses to the floor, gasping and coughing. For a moment, Naomi thinks it's over. Then Luciano pulls a gun from his desk drawer. What do you think happens next? Does Luciano pull the trigger, or does Naomi stop him before he makes a choice he can't take back? Tell us what you do in the comments. The gun clicks as Luciano releases the safety. Orlov scrambles backward across the floor, his hands raised, his face slick with sweat. Wait, please, I'll testify. I'll tell you everything Marchetti planned. I don't need your testimony. Luciano's finger moves to the trigger. Naomi steps between them. She doesn't think about it, doesn't calculate the risk. Her body just moves, placing itself in the line of fire. Get out of the way, Luciano says. No, Miss Brooks. You pull that trigger, and you become exactly what they say you are. Her voice is steady, even though her legs are shaking. A killer. A monster. The kind of man who solves problems with bullets instead of justice. He poisoned my son. I know. She doesn't move. And he should pay for it. But not like this. Not with Aiden down the hall, finally safe, finally breathing without chemicals in his blood. You think he needs to wake up and find out his father's a murderer? Luciano's jaw clenches. The gun doesn't lower. He's 8 years old, Naomi continues. He's scared and confused, and he spent his whole life watching people handle him like a problem. You want to teach him that violence is the answer? That when someone hurts you, you hurt them back worse. That's how the world works. That's how your world works. It doesn't have to be his. For 10 seconds, the only sound is Orlov's ragged breathing. Then Luciano lowers the gun. He doesn't put it away, just lets it hang at his side, his fingers still on the trigger guard. Get him out of my sight. 2 guards appear in the doorway. They were listening the whole time. They haul Orlov to his feet and drag him toward the exit. He's still babbling, still pleading, his words tumbling over each other in panic. Marchetti will pay you more. I have names. I have evidence. The door slams shut. His voice cuts off mid-sentence. Naomi lets out a breath she didn't know she was holding. Her hands are trembling. She shoves them in her pockets so Luciano won't see. He's staring at her like she's a puzzle he can't solve. You're either the bravest woman I've ever met, he says slowly, or the most foolish. You've already said that, because I still can't decide which one you are. She meets his eyes. Maybe I'm just tired of watching powerful men make choices that hurt innocent people. Maybe I'm tired of staying silent. He studies her for another moment, then walks to the window. Outside, the Hudson River gleams in the afternoon sun. Boats drift past like toys. Carlo Marchetti has been trying to take over my territory for 3 years, he says quietly. Attacks on my shipments, bribes to my people, threats against my associates. But going after Aiden, his hand tightens on the windowsill. That's different. That's personal. What are you going to do? Why should I have done years ago? He turns back to face her. End it. The words hang in the air like smoke. Naomi knows what he means, knows what end it looks like in his world. But before she can respond, his phone rings. He answers, listens for 5 seconds, then his face changes. When? More listening. His knuckles go wide around the phone. I'm on my way. He hangs up, looks at Naomi. Aiden's awake. He's asking for you. They drive back to the hospital in silence. This time, Naomi sits in the front seat. The driver, a man named Jerome with graying temples and gentle eyes, glances at her in the rearview mirror like he's trying to figure out who she is. She doesn't blame him. She's trying to figure that out too. When they reach Aiden's room, he's sitting up in bed, the wooden train still in his hands. His eyes brighten when he sees Naomi, the closest thing to a smile she's seen from him. Then he sees his father. His whole body goes rigid. The train drops from his fingers. Luciano stops in the doorway, frozen. For the first time since Naomi met him, he looks lost. It's okay, baby, Naomi says softly, moving to Aiden's side. Your dad's here to see you. He's not mad. He's just worried. Aiden's eyes dart between them. His hands start tapping against his legs. 1, 2, 3 for 1, 2, 3 for a rhythm only he understands. Luciano takes one step forward, then another. Slow, careful. When he reaches the bed, he doesn't touch his son, just stands there, his hands at his sides, his face unreadable. Aiden, he says. His voice cracks on the name. The boy doesn't respond, just keeps tapping. I'm sorry. The words come out rough, like they hurt to say. I should have listened. I should have seen. He trails off, the unspoken words louder than anything he could say out loud. Naomi watches them. This powerful man and this small boy, separated by 3 feet and a lifetime of misunderstanding. Then Aiden does something unexpected. He picks up the train, holds it out toward his father. Luciano stares at it like it's a live grenade. He wants to share it with you, Naomi whispers. Slowly, carefully, Luciano takes the train. His hand dwarfs it, scarred knuckles wrapped around painted wood. Aiden's tapping slows. Stops. For the first time in years, father and son sit in the same room without fear between them. Do you think Luciano can truly change? Or will his past always chase him, no matter how hard he tries to be better? Drop your thoughts below. 3 days later, the FBI arrests Carlo Marchetti at his estate in Connecticut. The news breaks on every channel. Federal agents swarming the property, Marchetti in handcuffs, his lawyers shouting about illegal searches and violations of rights. Nobody mentions Luciano Rossi's name, but everybody knows. Naomi watches the footage on the hospital TV while Aiden colors at the table beside his bed. He's been drawing for an hour. Careful, precise lines that form patterns she doesn't quite understand but finds beautiful anyway. The door opens. Dr. Lowe walks in with a clipboard and a tired smile. Good news, he says. All of Aiden's levels are back to normal. The sedatives are out of his system. He's clear to go home. Home. The word lands heavy in Naomi's chest. What about ongoing care? She asks. He'll need therapy. Occupational, speech, behavioral. I've already contacted some specialists who work with autistic children. They'll help develop a care plan that actually supports him instead of... He trails off, glancing at Aiden. Instead of drugging him into silence, Naomi finishes. Yes. That afternoon, Luciano arrives with an SUV and 2 guards. He's dressed differently today. Jeans, a plain black shirt, no tie. He looks younger, more human. He helps Aiden into the car, moving slowly, telegraphing every motion. The boy doesn't flinch, doesn't pull away. Progress, Naomi thinks. Small but real. On the drive back to the mansion, Aiden falls asleep against the window. Naomi watches the city blur past, her mind racing. She's been thinking about leaving, about going back to Atlanta, finding another job, rebuilding the life she left behind. But every time she imagines it, she sees Aiden's face, hears his whispered choo-choo, remembers the weight of him in her arms as she ran through the rain. "You're staying," Luciano says suddenly. She turns. "What?" "You're staying. Not as a maid. As Aiden's caregiver. Full-time. Whatever salary you want." "I don't." "Name it." She looks at Aiden's sleeping face. At the peace there that wasn't there a week ago. "I'll stay," she says. "But not for money." "Then for what?" "Because he needs someone who sees him. Not what's wrong with him. Not what he can't do. Just him." Luciano nods slowly. "Then we agree." The mansion feels different when they return. The staff still moves quietly, but there's less fear in the air. Less tension. Word has spread. The woman who defied the boss. The woman who saved the son. They treat her differently now. With respect. With something that might be gratitude. That evening, Naomi sits with Aiden in his room while he arranges his toys by color, then sighs, then color again. She doesn't interrupt. Doesn't try to redirect him. Just watches. Learns. Understands. Around 8 o'clock, there's a knock on the door. Luciano stands in the hallway, holding a small box. "Can I come in?" Aiden looks up. Nods once. Progress. Luciano enters, moving slowly. He sits on the floor. Not the chair, the floor. So he's at Aiden's level. "I brought you something," he says. He opens the box. Inside is a train set. Not a toy, but a real model, the kind with intricate details and working parts. Aiden's eyes widen. His hands reach out, then hesitate. "It's okay," Luciano says softly. "It's yours." Slowly, carefully, Aiden takes one of the trains, rolls it across the floor. His father picks up another one, rolls it beside the first. They don't speak. Don't need to. For 10 minutes, they just play, building tracks, connecting cars, creating something together. Naomi watches from the doorway, her throat tight. This is what healing looks like. Later that night, after Aiden's asleep, Luciano finds her in the kitchen making tea. "Thank you," he says. "You already thanked me." "I know." He leans against the counter. "But I don't think I said it right the first time. So, thank you. For seeing what I was too blind to see. For being brave enough to act when everyone else stayed silent." He reaches into his pocket, pulls out a small silver locket. "This was my wife's. I want you to have it." Naomi takes it carefully, opens it. Inside, a photo, Luciano and a woman with kind eyes, holding a baby between them. "Her name was Isabella," he says quietly. "She would have liked you. Would have trusted you with Aiden." Naomi closes the locket. "I can't accept this." "You already did." She looks up at him, sees the grief there, the guilt, the desperate hope that maybe, somehow, he can still be the man his wife believed he was. "Carlo Marchetti," she says. "What's going to happen to him?" "Federal prison. 25 years minimum. Fraud, conspiracy, attempted murder." He pauses. Dr. Orloff's testifying against him. Full immunity in exchange for every name, every detail, every dirty deal. And you had nothing to do with it. Not a thing. His expression doesn't change. Just a concerned father who reported suspicious medical practices to the authorities. She almost smiles. Almost. "What about Marchetti's people? Won't they come after you?" "They'll try." He shrugs. "But they're leaderless now. Scattered. By the time they regroup, I'll have double my security. Change my operations. Made it clear that anyone who threatens my son faces consequences worse than prison. Violence. Protection." He corrects. "There's a difference." Is there? Naomi wonders. Or is that just what powerful men tell themselves to sleep at night? But she doesn't say it out loud. Because right now, in this moment, she's watching a man try to change. Try to be better. And maybe that's enough. Can someone with blood on their hands ever truly wash them clean? Or will the past always leave stains? Tell us what you think. 6 weeks pass. Aiden starts therapy 3 times a week. Occupational therapy on Mondays and Wednesdays. Speech therapy on Fridays. A behavioral specialist named Dr. Yvette Chun comes to the house every Tuesday, teaching the staff how to communicate with him, how to recognize his needs before he gets overwhelmed. The mansion transforms. Quiet spaces are created, corners with soft lighting and weighted blankets where Aiden can retreat when the world gets too loud. His schedule is posted on every wall, color-coded and consistent. Meals are served at the same time every day, prepared the same way, because routine makes him feel safe. And slowly, carefully, he begins to speak. Not sentences. Not yet. Just words. Train. Blue. More. Naomi. That last one, her name in his small, careful voice, makes her cry the first time she hears it. Luciano notices. Changes. Not overnight, not dramatically, but in small ways that add up. He stops carrying his gun in the house. Starts eating breakfast with Aiden instead of in his office. Reads to him at night. Children's books with bright pictures and simple words that his son traces with his finger. One afternoon, Naomi finds them in the garden. Aiden's on his knees in the dirt, digging holes for flowers. Luciano's beside him, his expensive suit covered in mud, showing his son how to plant bulbs that will bloom in spring. They don't notice her watching. She doesn't interrupt. That evening, Luciano asks her to join him in his office. She sits across from him, the same chair she sat in the day Dr. Orloff confessed. I've been thinking, he says, about the future, about what Aiden needs. Okay, he needs stability, consistency, people who understand him. He pauses. He needs you. I'm already here, not as an employee, as family. The word hangs between them. Naomi's heart hammers in her chest. What are you saying? I'm saying I want to adopt you. Legally. Make you Aiden's guardian. So if anything happens to me, he trails off. So he's never alone again. She stares at him. You're serious. Completely. You barely know me. I know you ran through a storm with my son in a wheelbarrow. I know you stood between me and a loaded gun. I know Aiden trusts you more than he's ever trusted anyone. He leans forward. That's enough. Naomi opens her mouth. Closes it. Opens it again. I need to think about it. Take your time. But that night, lying in bed in the small room off the kitchen, she already knows her answer. She thinks about Marcus. About how she couldn't save him. She thinks about Aiden. About how she can. 2 days later, she tells Luciano yes. The legal papers are drawn up by the end of the week. No fanfare. No ceremony. Just signatures on documents that say Naomi Brooks is now Aiden Rossi's legal guardian, with full rights and protections. The staff doesn't understand it. The guards whisper about it, but nobody questions it. Not after what she did. That weekend, Luciano does something unprecedented. He throws a party. Not a business party. Not a networking event. Just a small gathering in the garden with cake and balloons and music that isn't too loud. Aiden sits at a table with his trains, arranging them in lines. Dr. Chen is there, chatting with Dr. Lowe. Jerome, the driver, brings his wife. Even some of the kitchen staff join in, laughing and talking and eating like they're people instead of servants. And in the middle of it all, Luciano Rossi, the man New York's underworld calls the gentleman butcher, kneels beside his son and helps him blow out the candles on a cake shaped like a train. Naomi watches from the porch, her hand touching the locket around her neck. Isabella would have loved this, she thinks. Later, after everyone's gone home and Aiden's tucked in bed, Luciano finds her sitting on the front steps, watching the sunset over the Hudson. He sits beside her, doesn't say anything at first, just sits. I've done terrible things, he says finally. Things I can't take back. Things I won't apologize for, because in my world, apologies are weakness. I know, but Aiden, he doesn't have to inherit that world. He can be something different, something better. He looks at her. You're helping him do that. We're helping him do that, she corrects. He almost smiles. Yes, we are. They sit in silence for a while longer, watching the sky turn from gold to pink to purple. Then Luciano stands. There's one more thing. He leads her inside, up the stairs, to a room she's never entered before. Inside, the walls are covered with photos. Isabella and Luciano on their wedding day. Isabella holding baby Aiden in the hospital. Family portraits, vacation snapshots, moments frozen in time. I haven't opened this room in 5 years, he says quietly. Couldn't bear it. But tonight, I thought it was time. He walks to the desk, pulls out a leather journal. Isabella kept diaries, wrote in them every night. After she died, I couldn't read them, couldn't face her words. He hands the journal to Naomi. I want you to have this. I want you to know her, know who she was, know what she would have wanted for Aiden. Naomi takes the journal carefully, like it might break. Are you sure? She would want someone to read it, someone who loves our son the way she did. His voice cracks. Someone like you. That night, Naomi reads the journal cover to cover. She learns about Isabella's hopes, her fears, her dreams for the son she knew she might not live to raise. And on the last page, dated 3 days before she died, Isabella wrote, "If something happens to me, I hope Aiden finds someone who sees him, really sees him, not the diagnosis, not the differences, just the beautiful, perfect boy he is. I hope that person loves him fiercely, protects him completely, and teaches him that being different isn't wrong. It's his greatest strength." Naomi closes the journal and cries. Not from sadness, from recognition, because Isabella was talking about her. If you could leave one message for someone you love, knowing you might not be there to deliver it in person, what would you say? Share your thoughts and comments. The roses arrive on a Tuesday morning, exactly 1 year after the night Naomi ran through the rain. Not at the mansion, at the hospital. 3 dozen red roses in a rusted wheelbarrow, placed just inside the emergency room doors. No card, no note, just flowers and memory. The hospital staff doesn't know who left them. The security cameras show a delivery truck, a driver who keeps his face turned away, a transaction that takes 30 seconds. But Dr. Lowe knows. He texts Naomi a photo with a single word, "Beautiful." She smiles when she sees it. Shows the photo to Aiden, who's sitting at the kitchen table working on a puzzle. "Flowers," he says. Then, carefully, "Pretty." "Yes, baby. Very pretty." He goes back to his puzzle. She goes back to her tea. Life has fallen into rhythm. Predictable. Safe. Aiden's vocabulary grows every week. He's up to 50 words now, stringing some of them together. More juice. Blue train. Thank you, Naomi. He still doesn't make eye contact. Still rocks when he's anxious. Still needs his routines and his quiet spaces. But he laughs now. Real, genuine laughter that fills the mansion with sound. And he hugs. Carefully, on his terms, but he hugs. The first time he wrapped his arms around Naomi's waist, she cried for 20 minutes. Luciano's businesses have changed too. Not the legal ones, those still run like clockwork. But the other operations, the ones nobody talks about, have shifted. He's out of protection rackets, out of loan sharking, out of anything that hurts regular people trying to survive. He's not clean, not by any legal definition, but he's cleaner. And the money that used to flow into offshore accounts now flows somewhere else, into autism research centers, into hospitals that serve low-income families, into scholarships for children whose differences make them targets. All of it anonymous, all of it untraceable. Quiet justice, Naomi called it once. Luciano shrugged. Call it whatever you want. I call it paying forward. One evening in late October, Naomi sits with Aiden in his room while he builds an elaborate train track that circles the entire floor. He's been working on it for an hour, his face serious with concentration. "Aiden," she says gently, "can I tell you something?" He doesn't look up, but his hands pause. "Listening. I had a son once, before I came here. His name was Marcus." Aiden's hands start moving again, slower now. He got sick, really sick, and even though I tried so hard to help him, he died. He was 6 years old. She stops, her throat tight. Aiden places another piece of track, connecting it to the loop with a soft click. For a long time, I thought I failed him. Thought I didn't do enough. Didn't fight hard enough. She wipes her eyes. But then I met you, and I realized maybe Marcus sent me here. Maybe he knew you needed someone. And maybe saving you was how I could honor him. Aiden finally looks up. His eyes meet hers for just a second. A rare, precious moment of connection. Then he reaches out and takes her hand. "Naomi's sad," he says softly. "A little bit, baby, but also happy." "Happy what?" "Because I get to know you. Because you're safe now. Because we're family." He thinks about this, then nods, satisfied with the logic. "Family," he repeats. then goes back to his trains. Later, Naomi finds Luciano in his office, reviewing documents. She knocks on the open door. Got a minute? He looks up. Always. She sits in the chair across from him, her chair now worn smooth from a year of conversations. I've been thinking about something, she says. About the mansion. About all this space. What about it? It's huge. Most of it sits empty. And there are so many families out there struggling with autistic kids. No money for therapy, no support, no help. She trails off. Luciano's watching her, a small smile playing at his lips. You want to turn my house into a community center. Not the whole house, just part of it. A safe space where families can come for resources, where kids can play together, where parents can learn from each other. She leans forward, where people like Aiden don't have to feel alone. He's quiet for a long moment. Then he picks up his phone, makes a call. Marcus, he says to whoever answers. I need you to draw up plans for renovating the East Wing. Therapy rooms, sensory spaces, meeting areas. Accessible, welcoming. Budget doesn't matter. He pauses. Yes, I'm serious. Get it done. He hangs up, looks at Naomi. Anything else? She smiles. That's it. Good. Because I have something for you. He pulls an envelope from his desk drawer, hands it to her. Inside a deed. Property deed. For a house in Atlanta. Her house, the one she left behind when Marcus died. You paid off my mortgage. Consider it back pay for saving my son's life. Luciano, I'm not asking you to leave, he says quickly. This is still your home. Aiden needs you. I need you. But I wanted you to have options. Wanted you to know you're here because you choose to be, not because you have nowhere else to go. She stares at the deed, her eyes burning. Thank you, she whispers. Thank you, he counters. For everything. That night, she goes back to Aiden's room. He's already asleep, the train still clutched in his hand. She pulls the covers up to his chin, smooths his hair back from his forehead. I choose this, she whispers. I choose you. Every single time. She kisses his forehead and turns to leave. But as she reaches the door, she hears it. So soft, she almost misses it. Love you, Naomi. She freezes. Turns back. Aiden's eyes are still closed. His breathing even. But she heard it. 3 words. Clear as day. She walks back to the bed, sits down carefully, and whispers back, I love you too, baby. So much. Outside, the Hudson River reflects the moon like scattered diamonds. Inside, a broken family learns to be whole again. What's one small act of kindness you've witnessed that changed everything? Share your story. It might inspire someone who needs it today. Spring comes early the next year. The bulbs Aiden planted bloom in waves. Tulips first, then daffodils, then crocuses that carpet the garden in purple and gold. He checks them every morning, counting petals, measuring stems, documenting everything in a notebook with careful, crooked letters. The East Wing renovation is complete. Families start coming, hesitant at first, then more confident. Parents who thought they were alone discover they're not. Kids who thought they were broken discover they're just wired differently. Aiden doesn't join the groups. Not yet. Too many people, too much noise. But sometimes he watches from the window. Sometimes he waves. Progress. One Saturday morning, Naomi wakes to find Luciano and Aiden in the kitchen, making pancakes. Flour covers every surface. Batter drips from the ceiling. They're both laughing. What happened here? She asks. Science experiment, Luciano says solemnly. We're testing whether pancakes can fly. Fly, Aiden shouts, waving a spatula. She shakes her head, grinning. You two are a mess. Yes, Luciano agrees. We are. He says it like it's something to be proud of. Later that day, they drive to the hospital, a routine visit for Aiden's checkup. Dr. Lowe pronounces him healthy, thriving, everything an 8-year-old should be. On their way out, they pass the emergency room. The wheelbarrow is still there, filled with fresh roses. Someone's been maintaining it, replacing the flowers every week. Who keeps doing that? Naomi wonders aloud. Luciano doesn't answer, just smiles. That evening, the 3 of them sit in the garden as the sun sets. Aiden plays with his trains. Luciano reads the newspaper. Naomi watches the river. Can I ask you something? Naomi says suddenly. Always. Luciano replies without looking up. Do you ever regret it? The life you had before? The power? He sets down the paper. Thinks about it. I regret the things I did to get that power. The people I hurt. The choices I can't take back. He looks at Aiden. But regret leaving it behind? No, because this. He gestures to the garden, the house, his son. This is what I was supposed to protect all along. I just didn't realize it until someone showed me. Someone. He meets her eyes. You. Aiden looks up from his trains. Naomi showed Daddy. Yes, she did. Luciano agrees. Naomi's smart. The smartest. Aiden nods, satisfied, and goes back to playing. As darkness falls, Naomi thinks about the woman she was a year ago. Broken, grieving, lost. She thinks about the night she ran through the rain, certain she was going to die, but doing it anyway. She thinks about all the moments since then. The small victories. The gradual healing. The family built from ruins. No one raised their voice there, she murmurs. No one cried there. Luciano glances at her. What? Something I thought the first day I came here. About how silent this place was. How afraid. She looks at him. It's not silent anymore. No, he agrees. It's not. Aiden drops his train and runs to Naomi, throwing his arms around her waist. She holds him tight, breathing in the smell of his shampoo, feeling the solid weight of him alive and real and safe. Love you, he says into her shirt. Love you too, baby. He pulls back, looks at his father. Love you, Daddy. Luciano's face does something complicated. Joy and grief and wonder all at once. Love you too, Aiden. So much. They sit like that until the stars come out. Three people who found each other in darkness and built something that looks like light. Later, much later, after Aiden's in bed and the house is quiet, Naomi stands at the window overlooking the river. She touches the locket at her neck, Isabella's locket, and whispers, I hope I'm doing right by him. I hope you be proud. The river flows on, silver in the moonlight, carrying no answers. But somehow, Naomi feels at peace anyway, because she knows the truth now, the thing Isabella wrote in her diary and Naomi proved with her life. Sometimes the greatest justice isn't loud. It doesn't demand headlines or recognition or applause. Sometimes it's just the quiet act of seeing someone when everyone else looks away, of choosing love when fear would be easier, of standing between a gun and a guilty man because mercy matters more than revenge. Sometimes justice is a wheelbarrow full of roses, a train passed between father and son, a word spoken carefully by a child who was told he'd never speak. Sometimes it's just being there, showing up, refusing to let the broken stay broken. That's the kind of justice Naomi believes in now, the kind that doesn't make noise, the kind that changes everything anyway. And if that's not worth fighting for, worth running through storms for, worth risking everything for, then nothing is. She closes the curtain and goes to bed. Tomorrow, there will be more families to help, more children to see, more small moments that add up to transformation. Tomorrow, Aiden will plant more flowers. Luciano will tell more terrible jokes. The mansion will fill with laughter instead of fear. Tomorrow, the work continues. But tonight, in this moment, there is peace. And that's enough. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that even the feared can learn to be human again, then please subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. We share stories like this every week, stories that inspire, that challenge, that remind us what really matters. Drop a comment below sharing your thoughts, your own stories of quiet justice, your moments when someone saw you when everyone else looked away. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Share this video with someone who needs to remember that change is possible, that compassion is stronger than power, that love, real, patient, unrelenting love, can transform even the hardest hearts. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. We'll see you in the next story.